Wow, look at you guys. Oh. Well, hello, Obama land. How are you guys doing? Oh, wow, it is, it's wonderful to be back with all of you tonight. You know, the lights are down, but I saw some familiar faces out there. And I hope this has been a spectacular few days for you all, hugging folks that you haven't seen in years and reminiscing about that day 15 years ago. Whew, 15 years ago. Oh, I know that we all have stories from that night. Maybe you were still knocking on doors in Pennsylvania or Florida or maybe Nevada. Maybe you were watching on TV when you got a call from your grandmother who thought that this day would never come. Or maybe you found a moment to yourself just to reflect outside of all the fuss. For me, one of my favorite stories from that night, I hope that Barack hasn't told it already because it's one of our favorites with our family. We were at the Hyatt, and the networks had already called the election for Barack, and you know, in a blur, our lives changed. You know, security detail came in. There was a football. There was, you know, you could feel that this was something different. So we got into the limos and left the Hyatt to go to Grant Park, and it was our first motorcade with Barack as president-elect. And so he had a presidential motorcade, which we had never really experienced. And as you all may remember, the president, when you're driving around, the Secret Service closes off all the intersections. There is never any traffic on the street when the president is traveling. And here we are, our family in the motorcade, and we're going down Lakeshore Drive, a drive we had taken almost every day, a crowded drive. And so we're there, no one's on the street, not a car, nothing. So Malia and the girls are peering out the window, and she turned around to us and she said, "Daddy, there's no one on the road. I don't think anybody's coming to your party." You know, we found ourselves in these parenting moments throughout the campaign where you realize they're just there. I mean, you forget, oh yeah, right, we have to explain this all to you. Because if you remember, primary season was long, so there was always a celebration after Ohio and then New Hampshire, and then the girls were there. We'd walk on stage, and we'd leave, and we're walking, and Malia would say, is Dad president yet? I'd be like, oh, no, not yet. She's like, well, when will we know? And I said, well, you'll know, because it'll be a different celebration. So I was like, it's here. But I love that story because it takes me right back to who we all were back then. Back when my babies were babies. And many of you were practically babies yourselves. But I also think that that story gives voice to a lot of the anxieties so many of us were feeling throughout that process. The little voices that wondered if it could really happen. Would anyone come to our party? Were folks truly ready to embrace our vision for this country? Were they ready to set aside their fears and their doubts? Were they ready to push past their cynicism and complacency? Were they willing to open their hearts and embrace a broader set of possibilities for what it means to be an American? Would they come? Because all of you know that nothing about that campaign or that election was easy or unearned. Nothing was preordained. But what I love about all of you all is that so many of you got involved, not just in spite of the scale of the challenge, but because of it. because you believe that change is possible, that our politics can reflect our values. We need to see some of that right now, that our hopes are more powerful than our fears. And in the 8 years that followed, all of you proved that that was true again and again and again by all the work that we accomplished, securing the right to health insurance for millions of Americans, pulling our country out of a historic economic crisis, helping to jumpstart clean energy revolution, affirming the truth of marriage equality. All the work we did to support our military families, helping our kids grow up healthy and reach their fullest potential, encouraging our students to get into and through college, helping girls around the world get the education they deserve, and every step of the way, leading with respect and inclusion and integrity and honesty and no scandals and no indictments and no mess. Man, y'all made it look easy. And that's why tonight is about so much more than what happened on one night 15 years ago. It's about all the work that led up to it and all the work that's happened since. It's about all those emails that you answered after midnight and all those work days that started before sunrise, every memo you wrote, meeting you held, every event you organized to get a bill passed or a policy enacted. And I want to just indulge myself for a moment by just giving a special shout out to my East Wing team. You know, I just have to say that my team's commitment helped reshape the country's expectation of what a First Lady could be. And our little mighty team, we did it without a roadmap or a lot of resources or fanfare. And even more than all the substantive accomplishments, on a deeply personal level, I just want to say that you all helped protect my girls from all that they were going through. The unwanted media scrutiny on these little bitty girls, helping them survive living amid the brightest spotlight in the world. You supported our girls and my mother everywhere we went. So that work that you did allowed us not just to represent this country with dignity, but also to maintain a strength of bond as a family. And I've said this before, I was terrified of what this whole experience might do to our family, that being the first family might mean that family came last. And sometimes it did, but my team helped make sure that that never happened too much. And because of all of you, we came out of that thing stronger, alive, thriving, and so I hope that you all know how much you mean to me and how proud I am of what we all did together. And that's true for everyone here. Whether you work directly with me or Barack, or you did work in an agency or through the embassy outside of the spotlight, because so many of you were not in the spotlight working hard. Everything this administration accomplished is possible only because of your dedication and hard work. And I've been even more amazed by the work you're still doing. Oh, the organizations you are starting, the votes you're protecting, the offices you're running for, the children you are now raising, the loved ones you're taking care of, the education and health care and opportunities you're securing for people you've never met all across the country and around the world. So I want to just say thank you. Thank you for everything you have done this past 15 years. And thank you in advance for everything you're going to do in the years ahead. And today, that little girl that was peering out the window of the motorcade is the same age that many of you were back then, believe it or not. Today, a lot of you have your own partners and your own kids and so many more responsibilities, and all I can say is, told you it was gonna be hard. And I had to do it in the White House. And while the world has improved in so many ways, we all know that it's also gotten more complicated. There are a lot of reasons why those little voices of doubt might be creeping back in, wondering if people will show up for the party that we know we have to give and throw. So I hope that by seeing each other this weekend over these days, that can be a boost for us all. I know it's a boost for me. I hope it reminds you of what's possible when people, decent people of all backgrounds, of all experiences come together to make a difference. I hope you remember that with enough hustle and heart and strategy, and I want to say that to the young people, strategy has got to be a part of the passion, because without it, you fail. That with all that, we can quiet our fears and silence our doubters, and together, we can raise our game to match our greatest hopes. That's what you showed us 15 years ago. And that's what so many of you are still showing us every single day. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you've done, not just for our family, but for the entire country. Barack and I love you all so much. Thank you.